Don't let loneliness push you back into the arms of toxic people. Remember, you shouldn't drink poison just because you're thirsty. The folks who demand the most from you often contribute the least. Avoid making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Learn to say no without guilt. It protects your time and priorities. People will disappoint you, so never put all your trust in anyone. Hard work doesn't always guarantee success, but laziness almost certainly guarantees failure. Your problems don't vanish when they end. They disappear when you allow them to make you stronger. Anything you start to take a relaxed attitude towards stops controlling you. Your self-worth is non-negotiable. Never settle for anything or anyone that diminishes it. Be mindful of what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. The worst lie you can tell is the one you tell yourself. Don't fear being alone. Being by yourself is far better than being surrounded by toxic people. You'll never find true happiness if you constantly seek validation from others. Chasing happiness often leads to misery until you realize that happiness is a journey, not a destination. You don't have to be the best. You just have to strive to be your best. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destinies. There's no greater waste of time than justifying your actions to those living a life you don't want. Sometimes, you just have to walk away. Let people go and let relationships end. Whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. Fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to show you what you care about. We become hostages to our regrets only when we allow the past to cage us. People give you advice based on their perspective, so not everything in your head needs to come out of your mouth. All pain is tolerable when you know it's temporary. Sometimes turning the page is hard when you know someone won't be in the next chapter, but the story must go on. Peace comes when you stop expecting and start accepting. Learn to be content and happy by yourself. Needing company to feel happy only makes you weak. The things we want to forget are often the hardest to let go of because we need to remember them. Don't get emotionally attached to anyone. People change, and even your best friends can become strangers. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take. The only thing stopping you from doing what you need to do is the excuse in your head saying you can't. Not everyone you meet has true intentions. The days you don't want to do anything are often the days you need to do the most. The life you want lies behind a lot of things you don't want to do. You'll never be 100% sure about a decision, but always make one. It's better to go back and fix it than to never make a choice at all. Sometimes you don't realize how toxic your environment is until you leave. Bad company corrupts good character, and not everyone you lose is a loss. The pursuit of perfection is futile. Aim for progress instead. Light travels faster than sound, which is why some people seem bright until you hear them speak. Change isn't a threat, it's an invitation to live. Being honest may not win you many friends, but it will always attract the right ones. Don't worry about what others think of you. Everyone is too busy thinking about themselves. Every second spent comparing your life to someone else's is a second wasted. Share your progress, not your goals, and you'll always stay motivated. Take your responsibilities seriously, but not yourself. If you put someone on a pedestal, they'll have no choice but to look down on you. Don't do anything you'll have to lie about later. Don't search for happiness. It's always inside you. You owe nothing to your younger self, but you owe everything to your present self. Self-care is realizing that you are your greatest obstacle. Your parents were right more often than you think, even if they weren't academically qualified. Stop insulting them when they offer advice. Overthinking ruins you. It twists situations and makes you worry about trivial questions, making everything worse than it is. If you're going to get angry about something, ask yourself if you'll remember it in 10 years. You only get one body. Take care of it. While it's incredibly resilient, it can only give you what you put in. If someone insists they're telling the truth, you can be sure they're lying. The only power you have is over what you decide to do with the time you're given today. You'll never ruin a role if you play yourself. Don't compare the behind the scenes of your life to someone else's highlight reel. Just because you miss someone doesn't mean you need them back in your life. Missing is part of getting over. Initially, you choose a partner based on looks, but you'll realize that your kids will be raised by values, not appearances. To know who your true friends are, look for those who say good things behind your back and bad things to your face. Letting go is hard, but it's often the best thing to do. The more wins you accumulate over fear, the more fearless you'll become. Never make someone a priority who only makes you an option. If you're a friend to everyone, you're an enemy to yourself. You were born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. The biggest thing you need to accept is change. You don't just live once, you live multiple lives within one. Life becomes easier and more beautiful when you can see the good in others. You can cut all the flowers, but you can't keep spring from coming. Let others' actions speak for them. They'll show you far more than they'll tell you. Everything you do creates dots that you can connect later in life to understand why you did what you did. Commitment gets you started. Consistency gets you somewhere. Persistence keeps you going. You can fall in love more than once. Don't worry too much when someone you love leaves. Most of the time, it's for the best. If someone is trying to bring you down, it only means you're above them. Don't make promises you have no intention of keeping. It might not mean anything to you, but it could mean the world to someone else. Going back to your ex is like taking a shower and putting on dirty underwear. Keep an open mind and act like an artist, but think, fail, and learn like a scientist. You don't find your purpose, you create it right where you are, giving it meaning. You grow rich when you seek new experiences, not material things. Action breeds more clarity than thought, so you can't think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into one. The life you experience is simply a reflection of your mindset. All you have is the now. What you do with it matters. Be smart enough to ask for advice, but wise enough to know who to seek it from. If you can drop anything from your world, drop the ego. The more grateful you are, the more beauty you'll see around you. The more generous life seems, the happier you'll become. You won't forget some bad things, you'll just stop caring. Until that happens, don't stress too much about it. Success isn't about your resources, it's about how resourceful you are with what you have. Fear limits most people throughout their lives and seeps into all their decisions. Do your best to control it, overcome it, and revel in your victories. You can't swim toward new horizons until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. It's never too late to do the things you've always wanted to do. Don't let naysayers discourage you. They may be projecting their own insecurities. You can't change what happened, whether it was your fault or someone else's. Don't be mad about it. Deal with the challenge. People will always project their fears and limiting beliefs onto you. Build a shield against this noise to protect yourself. Don't discuss your past with anyone. Only you know its true story and significance. Others may not understand or may even use it against you. Your tomorrow can be vastly different from your today if you try. Keep crying about what isn't working today, and I promise you that your tomorrow won't work either. Sometimes the world tries to tell you who you are, but if you don't stop to reflect and listen, you'll never hear it. Life won't go as planned, and trust me, that's a good thing. People aren't for you or against you, they're for themselves. What's coming is better than what's gone. Your true friends become apparent when you're at your lowest. The only way out is through. You're stronger than you think. You've gotten through every bad day in your life, and you're undefeated. Nobody will watch out for you like you will. Once you face your fear, nothing is ever as hard as you think. Out of difficulties grow miracles. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. The only thing you can control is how you feel. do, and think. Stop trying to change others. It almost never works. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Sometimes we can only find our true direction when we let the wind of change carry us. Never sacrifice your growth for anyone. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Trust yourself. You've survived a lot, and you'll survive whatever comes next. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. Keep your expectations to yourself. Life isn't always fair. People who lie and cheat can often come out on top. But no matter how bad a situation seems, you just have to keep battling on. Hoping and wishing won't make things change. Making different decisions and working hard will. Honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. When patience pays off, you realize you haven't waited long at all. You've got to love yourself before you can love others. When something happens that causes pain, it's there to teach you a lesson, not just to make you suffer. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Don't let the memories of your past limit your future potential. There are no limits to what you can achieve except in your mind. We must meet challenges rather than wish they weren't there. Letting go isn't a one-time thing. It's something you have to do every day. Difficult roads always lead to beautiful destinations. There comes a time in your life when you have to choose to turn the page, write another book, or simply close it. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. Courage is the most important virtue because without it, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. Most people will deceive you if you give them half a chance. You don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. Life is inherently risky. The only big risk you should avoid at all costs is the risk of doing nothing. Every next level of your life will demand a different you. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. The chief danger in life is taking too many precautions. The most important thing is learning how to fall. Bad days build better days. Let your self-improvement keep you so busy that you have no time to criticize others. People tend to complicate their lives as if living weren't complicated enough. A tough lesson in life is that not everyone wishes you well. There's neither happiness nor unhappiness in this world. There's merely the comparison of one state to another. Only a man who has felt ultimate despair can feel ultimate bliss. Hard times are sometimes blessings in disguise. We do have to suffer, but in the end it makes us stronger, better, and wiser. Rehearsing situations in your head is a waste of time. The situation will always be different from anything your imagination conjures. People will walk in and out of your life, and those you least expect will become mere memories of a temporary time you once thought was permanent. One of my biggest lessons in life is that we heal at the speed of our forgiveness. A little foolishness is enough to enjoy life, and a little wisdom helps avoid errors. Hard times don't create heroes. It's during hard times that the hero within us is revealed. Happiness isn't the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them. The courageous act we must all do is to step out of our history and past so we can live our dreams. Nothing in your life will change unless you change. You think you know someone, but mostly you just know what you want to know. It took a long time, but I've learned that you can't take anything you want from life without putting something back in exchange. Instead of worrying about what you can't control, shift your energy to what you can create. Maturity is when you stop complaining and making excuses and start making changes. You can't understand everything immediately. Sometimes you need to wait. Some goodbyes set you free. The only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be. If you have a strong purpose in life, you won't need to be pushed. Your passion will drive you. Life changes for the better when we realize we don't have to know everything, and we don't have to pretend we do. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone feels loved and believes in the goodness of people. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. Actions rooted in persistence sometimes bear bitter fruit. Sometimes you have to let parts of yourself go, or you'll never be happy. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you get what you need. The hardest thing to learn in life is which bridge to cross and which to burn. All you have to do is pay attention. Lessons always arrive when you're ready. Facing your emotions gives you more strength and happiness in the long run than shutting them down or ignoring them. If you believe strongly in something, stand up and fight for it. Guard your thoughts when alone and your words when accompanied. The trouble is, if you don't spend your life yourself, others will spend it for you. Be grateful for what you already have while you pursue your goals. If there's a single lesson life teaches us, it's that wishing doesn't make it so. Sometimes you won't fit in no matter how hard you try, and it's better to be alone. Every journey has its final day. Don't rush. When one door closes, another opens, but we often look so long and regretfully at the closed door that we don't see the one that has opened for us. Always trust your gut, even when everyone else tries to convince you otherwise. Don't take people for granted. You never know when they could be gone. You won't realize how much they mean to you until they're gone. Never back down from a real challenge. They give the best lessons in life. You are the only person who can be both your best friend and your worst enemy, and you can choose which one prevails. You can't control the behavior of others, but you can always choose how to respond. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out who you truly are. People only get better with experience if they're willing to learn from the lessons life gives them through tough times. Tough times teach us that our resilience is stronger than we ever imagined. You have to speak up for yourself. No one else will. You won't always be able to help someone change for the better. There will come a day when you decide you can't do it anymore, and they clearly don't want to change. Your life is the result of the choices you make. There's no plan, just the consequences of those choices. Be cautious with good deeds. Kindness has limits, and some may exploit your generosity. You can either become a victim of your struggles or emerge as the hero of your life. The most precious thing in the world is time with those you love. We often forget that happiness doesn't come from getting what we don't have, but from recognizing and appreciating what we do have. Your future is your past that you understand. You have to help yourself. No one else can do it for you. Once you realize this, you'll feel more in control of your life. Maybe you're not healing because you're trying to be who you were before. That person doesn't exist anymore. There's a new you trying to be born. Breathe life into that person. There will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let it be you. You learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time. No one owes you anything. You have to work for what you want. There are things we don't want to happen, but have to accept. Things we don't want to know, but have to learn. And people we can't live without, but have to let go. What you want requires consistency and discipline. Your entire life can change in an instant. So instead of passively taking what you have for granted, be grateful for it and do whatever good you can with it. The worst enemies are those who pretend to be your friends. The actions of men are the best interpreters of their thoughts. Never decide what you can or cannot do based on your lowest points in life. Only put off until tomorrow what you're willing to die having left undone. The harder your life becomes, the faster you'll reach your goals. Excuses won't fix your problems. Take responsibility for your actions. Accept that you'll make mistakes and learn from them instead of dwelling on them. Befriend those who expand your thinking, not just your circle. Avoid making decisions when you're angry, and avoid making promises when you're happy. You'll never understand the damage you did to someone until the same thing is done to you. Be careful who you let into your life. Some will drain you and then blame you for it. Maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who wronged you, but you just breathe, walk away, and let life take care of them. You are the only person you can control. Be humble enough to know you can lose everything, but confident enough to know you can get it all back. Remember, every time you try, you're making progress. Smart people stop overthinking once they realize that the best decisions require more gut feeling than pure intellect.